Welcome back, Holotable Heroes, to another Galaxy of Heroes video with me, your bald-headed boy Scribble. It is Friday, and everybody knows what Friday means. That's right, we're about to be galactically challenged. Today we find ourselves over the cold, cold planet of Hoth, cold like my dead heart. And we are having a rather wonderful Fleet Galactic Challenge. Fleet is everybody's favourite game mode mixed in with everybody's favourite game mode known as Galactic Challenge. The global modifier is known as Asteroid Belt. Essentially every single turn, each unit is going to be inflicted with a damage over time, which cannot be resisted. Which is always fun because it's basically a ticking time bomb until you just go poof. Alright, so that's going to be fun. At the start of every support character's turn, you're going to inflict target lock on a random enemy for 2 turns, and whenever a target locked enemy is attacked, there is a 50% chance to call an ally, which is, kind of useful for you, but absolutely miserable when the opponent does it. Our player modifier is Relentless Pursuit. This is for the First Order, which is just lovely. Everybody loves the First Order. It's a terrible fleet. I don't like it at all. It's not my cup of tea. Speaking of cups of tea, I do have one right here. Let's go ahead and give that a sip. Perfect. Perfection. The enemy has the odds ships. Whenever a Rebel ally scores a critical hit during their turn, they have a 100% chance to attack again, and Rebels crit a lot. This chance is reduced to 10% for bonus attacks beyond the first. Rebel allies cannot be counterattacked, which is just fabulous all in general, really, isn't it? That's just a mile a minute right now. So what are the feats? We need to win with a full First Order fleet, we also need to win without losing a unit, and we need to win after gaining Taunt at least 3 times. The taunting one really isn't so bad. I'm going to go over a number of fleet comps that we're going to be using over here, and then we're going to crack on to it. Starting out for the First Order and Taunts. So the fleet that I'm using is using a TIE Silencer. I threw in TIE Dagger at the start, it really doesn't matter, use another one. The Echelon, and then just all of the First Order ships. If you don't have the TIE Dagger, just throw in Kylo Ren's Command Shuttle, that's probably the next best ship. And the last one, I'm throwing in Houndstooth, because Houndstooth is kind of one of the few things that's actually going to survive a little bit of abuse from the enemy. All we're trying to do is secure the victory here. However, I find with Houndstooth, it's also a pretty easy way of getting the taunts as well. I managed to get the taunts at any rate. So we're starting off with our ultimate over here, targeting that Rebel Y-Wing, and hopefully you land a stun with Kylo Ren's silencer. However, I find more often than not the enemy just resists it, so it is what it is. I'm kicking out some AoEs here, just trying to do a little bit of damage, waiting for those dots to start ramping up. Fortunately, the enemy's Millennium Falcon does not have that unique ability to dispel debuffs after they hit 3 unique debuffs, so that's quite good. First reinforcement, of course, bring in that Houndstooth. You don't need to have a full fielded First Order in order to get that feat done. So long as they exist on your bench, you will be absolutely fine. We only need to have 5 total First Order. Big hit over there from Silencer to take out that Rebel Y-Wing. Next, we're going to have to go after the Wedge's ship. Using the basic on the Finalizer, calling in your Silencer is a good way of getting some extra damage in. That Wedge is obviously going to perish as soon as it takes another turn, because 11 debuffs will do that. We lost our Houndstooth, do some damage, and there we go, the Millennium Falcon dies. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You might need a couple of runs to get it done, but it can work quite well. As you can see over here, we get all the First Order fleets, and we get the taunt 3 times. Super smashing great. Next up, we're just looking to try and get the victory without losing a unit. I'm going over with the Executor first of all, standard lineup here, not triple attacker, and just go ham. Targeting Wedge's X-Wing straight away. You can do some pretty decent damage over here, calling in Xanadu Blood for hopefully the double tap. He doesn't double tap there, but we did get the extra assist from the global modifier. Don't forget, Executor can ignore pilotless taunting tanks, so if that Rebel Y-Wing starts taunting, just ignore it, just target somewhere else. You can't do it on your capital ship's turn, but all of your bounty hunter ships can always ignore it. You can just go ahead. I chose to put the taunt over there to try and get an additional breach on Rebel Y-Wing to keep that taunt alive on our Houndstooth. This will, of course, work for the Houndstooth taunt. Now, I am not using a reinforcement here. I'm using that second special from the capital ship, targeting Houndstooth to cleanse him, heal him up, and force an additional taunt. So you will get the taunts with this fleet as well, which is rather nice. I'm going in on the Millennium Falcon when it doesn't have that outmaneuver ability to try and get rid of him. Once he's gone, there's no real damage left on the field. You could probably reinforce here. I think I decided to go with IG-2K, hopefully looking to land some stuns on the board, but of course they've got ridiculous tenacity, so you're probably not going to land it. Calling in that reinforcement there, boom, boom, and there we go. Managed to get the whole thing, not losing a single ship there. We definitely got all the taunts as well, but it doesn't have to be done with Executor, so let's look at some other options. It can also be done with a standard Profundity over here. Standard Profundity lineup, once again, we're just going to go all in on Wedge's X-Wing, try to get as many assists on him as possible, and hopefully don't have your Rebel Y-Wing just get absolutely gunned down out of the gate. If you can get rid of the X-Wing, Wedge's X-Wing early on in the game, it does make life a little bit easier, and in this instance he's pretty much dead. Unfortunately, they did get the protection disruption on my Y-Wing, which makes it a little bit hairier, because, you know, it's not going to take much for them to start taking him down. Fortunately, they didn't get any assists there from the Millennium Falcon's AoE, which makes my life a little bit easier, and we've done some pretty good damage to their Y-Wing itself, so I think those dots are probably going to take him out. I choose to reinforce here with the Ghost, I believe, because I want to try and get some additional assists to heal up on our Rebel Y-Wing. So good mass assist over there, taking out their Rebel Y-Wing, and then we just need to hope that we can deal enough damage to his Millennium Falcon just to chew through all of that additional protection. 8 dots right now. It's looking pretty good. If he does take a turn, immediate destruction. So that one is probably more RNG than the Executor fleet, but it still can be done if you have Profundity but not Executor. But that's not all, you don't need that either. It can also be done with the Negotiator fleet. I'm not even using the Marauder here. This one was quite a bit sketchier, guys, but I did it back to back, no drops first time, no whammies, absolutely perfect. I decided to focus in on the Y-Wing this time just to make sure that they don't have too much recovery, and I was actually surprised at the amount of damage we can kick out over here. We did surprising amount of damage there, taking out that Y-Wing really, really quickly, and then I'm just going to focus down on any ships that I can. Thankfully, we do get some bonus turns out of our Anakin, and you reinforce with Plo Koon over here. That's going to cleanse the dots on our team, and we can pass some additional TM, and we gain some heals. So I'm just looking to try and get rid of the units as fast as possible right now, and hopefully not lose a unit. Now, I don't know if we actually get the taunting one on this one, but don't forget that Plo Koon has got a second special, and that second special can cleanse, but also if you use it on a tank, it will taunt as well. So it's a bit of a double bubble there. So we might have actually hit the taunt. Look how close we get to losing this. I had to force the taunt here because if that Rebel Y-Wing took a turn, he was definitely going to die due to the dots, so I needed to cleanse those dots. We luckily get a nice assist there, and I just call in, I believe it's Snips' ship, just to try and get some extra damage on that Phantom to try and get rid of him. And bish bash bosh, there we go. No losses, probably maybe got the taunts, it might have only been 2, but there are plenty of other fleets that we can use to get that done. And that is going to about do it for today's episode of Galactically Challenged with me, your bald-headed boy Scribble. If this video was useful to you, please do make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you hadn't already. A massive shout out to my wonderful, wonderful patrons. You guys are the absolute bee's knees, the bogs dollocks, you might say. I'll see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.